this is what I'm hoping to cover with you today. We're going to look at how words are formed. Then we're going to do some practice using some examples. Then we'll take a look at what this means in terms of IELTS, especially for the writing and speaking, and the reading and listening. And then I'll do a quick sum up and go over to the Q&A to answer your questions, but that will come at the end. Does that sound okay? Is everyone ready? Great, thank you. Excellent. So let's begin. So take a look at this word. It's a very long word. It's 21 letters, quite a long one. Do you know what it means? Okay, good. Asiaf says yes. Peter says no. Some people say, oh, it's quick, going very quickly. Don't worry if you don't know. We're going to work it out together. So one of the ways that you can work out a meaning of a word is to break it down. Let's break this one down. Let's start with the root. What do you think is the root of this word? Pop your ideas into the chat box, please. Comprehend, comprehensive, okay, nice. The root, yes, is comprehend. Excellent. Let's take a look at the beginning. It starts with IN. What does this tell us? What does this tell us about the word? It means negative. Very good. Yes, Elizabeth. Yes, Shivangi. Nice, Charles. Yes, it's a prefix. Thank you. So yes, it shows us that it's a negative or the opposite. I like the word prefix. Good. What about this part? The abilities or abilities. What does this show us? What does this indicate? Good. It's a suffix. Good. What does the suffix show us though? What does it tell us about the word? Very good. Yes, Nikolai, it's a noun. Good. So, and what kind of noun? A singular noun? Very good. Excellent. Good, Sophia. Yes, it's a plural noun. Thank you. So let's put what we've worked out together, the three components, what we've worked out. Let's put it together and see if we can work out the meaning of the word. We know that it's a negative, we know that it's a plural noun, and we know the root word is comprehend. So what do you think this word means? Pop your ideas. Galia says misunderstanding. Good. Pop your ideas into the chat box. Rahaf says not able to understand. Alice says not being understandable. Good. I think you're all on the right track. It means things that are difficult or impossible to understand. Okay, so that's our starting point. So based on what we just looked at, how do you think words are formed? What did we just do with the word incomprehensibilities? How do you think words are formed? How do we form a word? Very good. Yes, Jyoti. Good. Very good. Yes. So words are formed by adding a suffix, something to the end, or a prefix, something to the beginning, to a root word. Okay. The example that I'm going to use with you for the next few activities is use. So the root word we're going to be looking at is use. So we can change the form of use by adding something to the end, by adding a suffix. We can change it from a verb to an adjective, usable, from a verb to a noun, usage. We can also change the meaning by adding a prefix, like misuse and abuse. Okay? So suffixes and prefixes we can add to words to change the form and to change the meaning. Let's take a look, do a little bit of practice with the meaning part. What do we add, or where do we add to the root word when we want to change the meaning? Do we use a suffix or do we use a prefix? Very good. Yes, Nazila. Good, Amana. We use a prefix. Okay, so remember the root word that we have is use. Take a look at the 3 sentences here. With the word use, can you complete the sentences, please? The map shows a large part of the village is currently blank. According to the plans, blank warehouses will be replaced by apartments and shops, and there is a significant proportion of the population that blank water, resulting in substantial waste. I'll give you a few more seconds. Remember, our root word is use. Remember, guys, I can't see the Q&A, so please don't put your answers in there because they will just be dismissed. Put your answers in the chat box so I can see them. Very nice, Bano. Good, Mohammed. Nada's finished. Good, Nazila. Yes, Andres. Good. Lots of ideas coming through. Let's take a look at the answers. So what did you put for number 1? The map shows a large part of the village is currently, okay, used, in use, misused, good, okay. What about number 2? According to the plans, blank warehouses. What kind of warehouses? Unused, Vanessa says. Misused, okay. And what about number 3? There's a significant proportion of the population that, you've got the right idea, but the wrong tense, I think. Good. Nice, Amina. Good, Yusuf. Nice, Vanessa, but the wrong tense. Okay, have a look at the answers. How many did you get? How many did you get? Did you get all 3? Oh, never mind, Bayan. That's okay. It's okay, Anjali, never mind. This is maybe something new. Okay, let's move on to the next practice. Remember, I can't see the Q&A, guys. Keep it in the chat box. Now we're going to focus on form. Now, where do we need to add to the root word if we want to focus on form? Is it at the beginning or at the end? Do we use a prefix or suffix? Yes, Sabrina, good. Good, Zoha. Good, Hassan, very good. So we're looking at suffixes now. Again, we have the same root word. Our root word is, what's our root word? Yes, good, Javad, good, Nazila. Yes, yes, Margaret, good. So it's still use. Have a look at the 3 sentences. Can you complete the sentences using a form of use? When you're ready, pop your ideas into the chat box. Good, some nice answers coming through. Very nice, Satish. Good, Kiara. Nice, Victoria. Good, Rekha. Excellent. Lots of answers coming through. So take a look at the answers and see how many you got right. So for the first one, we have usage. The second one, used. The third gap is use. And the last one is using. 3 out of 3. Well done. Well done, Katerina. You got it all right. Well done, Deepa. Good. Okay, excellent. Now look at the sentences more carefully. Which part of the test do you think you would expect to see sentences like this? Describing maybe water usage, it could be perhaps a map, or perhaps describing a diagram or data on the percentage of people on universal credit, something along those lines. Where would you possibly see sentences like this? Yes, Alani, yes, in writing task 1, I think. One of the challenges in writing task 1 is that people find it difficult to say the same thing in different ways. And this is one of the strategies that you can use by changing the form of the word to bring variety into your writing, to show flexibility in your writing. Yes, Maria, kind of paraphrasing. So this is what we're going to focus on today. And so if we do want to change the form of the word, we have some common suffixes that can do that for us. Let's have a look at the suffixes I've got here for you. Some of the words are in black, some in blue, some in red, one in green, and the rest in purple. Take a look at the first column. What do you think these suffixes show? What part of speech? What kind of word? Good, Kinara. Very good, Sophia. Excellent. Good, Lean. All right. What about the blue? What about the blue? What do the blue suffixes show us? Not an adjective, no. Well, we're getting closer. Okay. And what about the red? What did the red show us? Good, Alice. Good, Ali Reza. Yes, Fariba. Okay, and the ly, I think that's a giveaway, the ly. What does that tell us about? Very good, Sanaz, yes. Good, Rosa. Good, Elham. And what about the last column, the purple? Well done. Good, Sabrina. Excellent. Okay, so there we go. There are the titles for the columns. So the first is nouns, the second people, the third verbs, the green adverbs, and the purple adjectives. Can you tell me a noun ending in ment? Pop it into the chat box. Movement, very good, Prashant. Government, very nice. Involvement, good. Excellent. Can you tell me a person with IST? IST. Oh, very nice. Pianist, that's a nice one. Very good. Dentist, good, Yeshim. Excellent. Let's see, an adjective with IVE. IVE, an adjective. Not an adverb, aggressive, nice, Alham. Creative, good, Deepra. Productive, says Shivani. Zara says competitive, very nice. Excellent, some good words coming through here. So you get the idea how we can change form. So let's put this into practice. Now I'm going to show you a text. There are some gaps in the text, and there will be, the root word will be there for you in brackets in red. I want you to complete the gap using the right form of the word. You're going to need those suffixes that we just looked at. When you have come up with the answer, pop it into the chat box. Remember, not the Q&A. I can't see the Q&A. Pop it into the chat box, and then we'll take a look at it. Oh, Greta's ready. She's got number 1 already. Excellent. So here we go. Everyone ready? Let's take a look. I'm going to give you about a minute to do this. Great, we've got some answers coming through. We've got another half a minute. Oh, Dimitri's finished already, well done. So has Livia. Okay, just a few more seconds. Excellent. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Check your answers. How many did you get this time? How many? Just one wrong, Gautam. That's good. 5 out of 6. Very well. Well done. Don't worry, Marjana. You'll get more next time. I'm sorry, Al-Mahdi. I couldn't give you more time. We've got a lot to get through, but you can take a look later when you get the recording and do it maybe in slower time. Okay, so we've done lots of vocabulary practice. Let's see what this means in terms of IELTS. How can this knowledge, this ability help you in the IELTS test? It can help you in writing and speaking because it's a way of rephrasing or paraphrasing something. It can help you in writing and speaking because it shows how flexibly you can use vocabulary. It can also help you in reading and listening to help you guess vocabulary that is unfamiliar, like we did at the beginning with incomprehensibilities. And it can also help you predict possible answers, like, especially when you have gap fill questions. Okay, so we'll look at each one of those in more detail in turn. Let's take a look at the writing. We've already looked at some examples of how you can use it in writing task 1 for the academic. Let's take a look at how we can use it for writing task 2. What is writing task 2, by the way? Can you remind me? What kind of task is it? Very good, Marina. Yes, Galia. Yes, Alexei, well done. Yes, it is an essay, and yes, you do have 40 minutes. So when you get your essay, it'll look something like this. This is a typical question for writing task 2, and you'll have instructions that will be similar to this. Now, I'm sure that when you get a question like this, I'm sure your teachers will say, when you get the topic, when you get the question, rephrase it. But what do they mean by rephrase? Rosa, writing task 2 is the same for general and academic. It's just task 1 that's different. But don't worry about that now. There'll be webinars coming up on different skills later on. So your teacher will say to you, look at the question and rephrase it. What do we mean by rephrase? How do we rephrase? Changing the tense. Yes, Hassan, using synonyms. Good. Yep, using synonyms, using similar words, using antonyms, that sort of thing. I want us to look at reformulation, so changing the form of the words. I've got some words that I've chosen that I want to reform, and these are the words. So I want to rephrase the introduction using reformulation. So what do you think I can use instead of judged? I want to keep the same root word. Yes, Brian, good. Judgment, good. I want to keep the same root. I don't want a synonym. So I could use judgment. How about possessions? What could I use with the same root word? Can I use a verb? What's the verb of possession? I'm not looking for synonyms, guys. There's lots of synonyms coming through. Yes, Louise, possess, good, something like possess. How about values? Can I use an adjective maybe? Here it's a noun. What's the adjective of values? Valuable, okay, valued, good, okay, excellent. So the strategy or the technique I'm going to use is reformulation. So I'm going to reform these words to rephrase the question. I'll give you just a few seconds to think how you would do it by reforming those words, and then I'll show you my answer. Okay, ready to see my answer? Okay, Marjan is ready. Great. Good, Rahul. Okay, now you guys are ready. Okay, this is my answer. Take a look. Okay, so as you can see, I have rephrased the topic and I'm ready to start my essay. This is just one way. This is just one technique that you can use to rephrase your writing, to use different words when you maybe you can't think of a synonym, maybe you can't think of a similar word on the spot. So this is a technique that you can use. So what does that mean in terms of your score? Are you familiar with the band descriptors? Rafa says yes. Okay, Joanna says no. So some of you are and some of you are not. So the band descriptors, the public band descriptors are basically will show you what the examiners look for when they are marking your writing. One of my colleagues will share the link with you in a moment to so that you can download the full version. At the moment, I'm just going to focus on the lexical resource because we're working on vocabulary. So doing something like I just did with that topic, it will impact your score in the lexical resource. Specifically, it will impact your score in word formation, which is the third bullet point there. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah's just shared the link with you. So do download it and take a look at the other parts of it as well. So this is where it can help you. Reformulation, word formation can help you in the writing. Okay, moving on, let's have a look at the speaking. How do you think that this technique can help us in speaking? Yes, very good. Similar to the writing, it can help us rephrase, it can help us paraphrase or say things in a different way. So what I'm going to do now to demonstrate this for you is I've got some questions that would typically come up in part 3 of the speaking text. Yes, Maria, it avoids redundancy. That's a good point. In part 3 of the speaking test, I've got typical questions from that part. I'm going to pose the question and my colleagues are going to answer them. And then I want you to listen very carefully and see how they have reformulated the question. Are you ready? Are you ready to listen? Good. So listen carefully and see how they have reformulated the question. So the first question is for Aidan. Do you think advertising influences what people buy?
Yes, definitely. Adverts can be quite influential on people's buying habits, especially if they include famous personalities.
Thank you, Aidan. Which words did Aidan reformulate in his answer? Very good. Good, Jue. Good, Javad. Good, Maria. Yep, you've picked some of those up. Yes, definitely, he said, adverts can be quite influential on people's buying habits. I forgot to highlight buying habits, especially if they include famous personalities. Excellent. Thanks for that, Aidan. Okay, let's look at the next question. What kind of national celebrations do you have in your country, Sarah?
Where I come from, we tend to celebrate days that are important to our nation's history, like Independence Day. Another example would be Thanksgiving, actually.
Great, thanks, Sarah. So which word or words did Sarah reformulate? Very good, Anna. Good, Saeed, you got both. Good, Ragavi. Excellent. So Sarah said, where I'm from, we tend to celebrate days that are important to our nation's history. Good. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This time, I'm going to show you the question and I want to ask you which words you would reformulate if I was asking you. So if I asked you, why do you think some teachers use competitions as class activities? Which words would you reformulate in your answer? Very good. Anel says competition. Okay, so what would you say instead of competition? Teachers, Karen says, good. Okay, Raunak, good. Competitive, Melita says, excellent. Good. Okay, now listen to Yasir's answer. I'm going to ask Yasir the question and see which words he reformulates. So Yasir, why do you think some teachers use competitions as class activities?
That's a really interesting question. I think it's because people generally have a competitive streak, making them more active in class.
Thank you, Yasir. So which ones did he reformulate? Good, Brian, you got them both. Nice, Mani, excellent. Exactly, he said people have a competitive streak, making them more active in class. And the last question, what about this one? Which words would you reformulate? Okay, good. Nice, Taiwo, okay. All right. Sanam, okay, nice. Thank you, April. Okay, I'm going to ask Danny the question. So Danny, how have developments in technology affected employment in your country?
Well, unfortunately, technological developments have mostly been negative, creating a lot of unemployment where I'm from.
Thank you, Danny. What did you hear? Which words did Danny reformulate? Good, Francesca. Nice, Nikolai. Good, Fariba. Yes, Alireza. Okay. So she said, unfortunately, technological developments. She used technological and then she used unemployment. Nice. Okay. So what does that mean in terms of our score in IELTS or your score in IELTS speaking? So just with like the writing band descriptors, there are band descriptors. There are band descriptors that we have for speaking that also explain what the examiners are looking for when you speak. Again, I'll ask one of my colleagues to share that with you. I'm going to share the link, with you in the chat box. I'm going to look at the lexical resource part again. So last week, Yasir's webinar focused on the second bullet points, looking at idiomatic language, vocabulary, and collocation. What we're looking at today focuses on the third bullet point, which is paraphrasing. So what you just saw, the demonstration with my colleagues, was an example of how you can paraphrase. Okay. Anas, I can see your answer. It's just I can't call out everybody's name, I'm afraid, but I do see your answers. And Francois says, is that enough? Sorry, Blendy says, are those answers enough? They were just a small example for you to see how you can use the technique. In the speaking test, you would actually speak more, giving a reason for your response. But this was just a little example. So do take a look at the public band descriptors for the speaking as well. Right, moving on. So we've looked at writing, we've looked at speaking. Let's take a look at the reading. So how can this technique help us in the reading? It can help us with unfamiliar vocabulary. How do you deal with unfamiliar vocabulary in a text? You guess, Eileen, good. You skip it. Oh, Saeed. Okay, Mulan. Yeah, good, Giselle. Look for the root, Amira. Good. Okay, so you might, as Amira said, look for the root or look at the word form. Again, just as we did at the beginning with incomprehensibilities. And then you can focus, or as well as you can focus on the content. Sometimes the word form is not enough, I'm afraid, and we have to look at the context. But both of these are very useful to help you ultimately guess the word. Okay, so let's do some practice before we look at a reading sample. Let's take a look at this sentence. Jane skillfully negotiated a lower price for the family holiday. What is the root of this word? What's the root of this word? Yes, Livia. Good, Marnie. Yes, Dimitri. Sprill. What does sprill mean? What does sprill mean? Anna says no idea. Buffy doesn't know either. Well, I think you don't know because it is a nonsense word. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just using it here today to demonstrate this technique. It was actually first used by Danny back in May or June for a demonstration. So it doesn't mean anything. So what part of speech is it? What, yes, what part of speech is it? Is it a noun, a verb, adjective, adverb? Very good, Marjana. It is an adverb. So now we know the word formation. Can we perhaps try to guess from the context what the adverb means? What do you think skillfully means here? Pop your ideas into the chat box. Remember, not the Q&A. Actively, that's good. Ali Reza, that's serious is an adjective, so can you make it an adverb? Efficiently, Dipra says, very nice. Effectively, Shreya, something along those lines, because it got her a lower price, so it must be positive. Let's have a look at the second example. Again, our root word is sprill. What does sprill mean? That's right, it doesn't mean anything. It's a nonsense word. So here, is it an adverb? No. Okay, good. It's a noun. Very good. And we know that because of the end, the AGE. So after spending too long in the sun, the whole family was suffering from sprillage. What do you think sprillage means here in this context? Good, Esther. Sunburn. Nazila said sunburn as well. Tiredness, sunstroke, Ferry, but that's a nice word. Well, it's not a nice word, but it's a good word. Sunburn, yes, Krista. Good. Amana, be careful. You've used an adjective here. We're looking for a noun. Very good. Excellent. Good. Moving on to the next one. The hotel Spriller asked the family to be mindful of the other guests. What do we mean? What do you think Spriller is here? Yes, it's a person, Aldir. Yeah. Yes, Sabrina, it's a person. So which person? Who do you think it is? The hotel Spriller. Deepra says caretaker, possibly. Hotel security, Alira said, that's very good. Arsha, yes, hotel manager, that fits as well. So all of those fit, all of those fit. Good. What about number 4? The hotel Spriller served the local speciality at breakfast every morning. Is that the manager as well? Is that the receptionist as well? No, probably not. So who do you think the hotel Spriller is in this example? Good, Sabra. That's a nice one. Sabra says chef. Deepra says chef as well. Atafer, not servant. That's the wrong word. Brenda, not butler either. I think that's the wrong word. Sri says waiter. That's good. Staff. That's nice. Excellent. So if you notice in 3 and 4, we have the same word, Spriller, but you chose different job titles or different people. For number 3, you said manager or receptionist. For number 4, you said chef or waiter. Why? How did you make that distinction? How did you decide that there was a difference between them? Very good. Yes. We use the context. Yes, Maria. Yes, Peter. Excellent. Well done. So now we're going to put this knowledge, this technique into practice in the reading. I'm going to show you a text. You can quickly scan through the text. There may be words that you're not familiar with or you don't recognize, but don't worry, because you can try and use the technique that we just practiced to help you. I'm going to show you 4 statements. This is a typical question that you may get in the reading. I'm going to show you 4 statements, and for each statement, I want you to say whether it's true, false, or not given. Can we have the poll question, please? So either with the poll question or in the chat box. Read the 4 statements, decide if they are true, false, or not given. I'll give you about a minute and a half. Don't worry if you can't see the poll question, just pop your answers into the chat box. Remember, I can't see the Q&A. Okay, 30 more seconds. Good. Excellent. Right, let's take a look at the results. Oh, very nice. I think most of you have got that. Excellent. Well done. Good stuff. Let's take a look at the answers. So number 1 is false. Number 2 is also false. Number 3 is true. And number 4 is not given. I've also highlighted the words in the text. Well done, Maliha. You got them all right. I've highlighted the words in the text that correspond to those statements. So how many did you get? Oh, well done. Good. Excellent. Don't worry if you didn't get them all. You can do more practice. You can take a look at it later when you're sent the recording and take some more time to read the text. Okay, moving on to the listening. Finally, we've got the listening to look at. Now, we won't have time to do the listening today, to do the actual listening, but we're going to try to apply the technique to how you can prepare yourself before you even listen to the audio or the recording. So this is, again, a typical question for that you might see in the listening, where you have to listen to a conversation or perhaps a monologue, and you have to complete the gaps. Even before you listen to the audio, you can help yourself by reading ahead and preparing and try to guess what might be coming. How you can do that is by identifying the keywords. So keywords are important. And then you can take a look at the gap and see what form of the word, what type of word or what part of speech you need, and then use the context to help you to perhaps predict the kind of word you need to listen out for. So looking at the first sentence, what do you think the key words are? What do you think the key words are for the first sentence? Francesco's already guessing the answer. Open University, possibly, but it's capitalized, so I would expect the topic to be about that. Perhaps studying. Okay, good. Yep, demand. Yep, Joanna, yep. What about the second one and the third one? So here are the keywords that I've highlighted just to save you some time. So one of the things you can do is try to think of different parts of speech of the keywords, perhaps study, perhaps demanding, as well as thinking of synonyms and similar words. Then you can look at the gaps and try to anticipate the type of word that you need, which part of speech. So which part of speech do we need for 27? Do we need a noun, verb, adjective, adverb? Not adjective, Miriam, no. Yeah, yes, Victoria, yes, good. Okay, yes, we probably need a noun. Something like a great deal of, it takes a great deal of, or it demands a great deal of, maybe energy, time, effort. Good, Rosa, effort, that's a nice one. What about for 28? What kind of word do we need for the gap in 28? Very good. Yep, we need another noun. So a noun that would perhaps describe the skill, so some kind of skill. Good. And what about 29? structured in. Good. Another noun. Excellent. So just a tip for you there is with most gap fill activities in IELTS, the gaps are usually the word that you need to complete the gap is usually a noun. But just remember, we did all of this, all this guessing, all this anticipation, all this predicting, all this preparation before we even listened to the recording. So you can try to use this technique in the test as well. Right, so let's just sum up what we've looked at today. We looked at word formation, how words are formed, and how we can use them in the test. Remember to try to notice and note down different forms of new words. So when you do learn a new word, try to take a note of the different forms of the word so you can use them as well. Remember to practice using different forms of words you're already familiar with in your writing and when you're speaking. This is really useful again for paraphrasing. So and also to bring variety and flexibility to your use of vocabulary. So one of the ways you can do this when you do a writing task is to go back after you've finished and see if you can change the form of the words that you've used, if possible. And use word formation and context to guess unfamiliar words, as we did with our Sprill activity and also the text relating to the ancient Greeks. Right, so that's the end of the session. I'm going to pop over to the Q&A to try and answer a couple of your questions before I go. If you could just, as I'm doing that, let us know in the chat box what you found useful about today's session, what you liked about this session, and this will help us when we are preparing our future sessions as well. Well, just a quick reminder, I'll leave this while I go over to the Q&A, that I've completed this session. So we've done the word building. There are 2 more sessions left related to vocabulary, one on the 17th next week and one on the 24th. So make sure you come and join us again. Don't forget to register for this. Right, I'm just going over to the Q&A. Let's see what I can find. Some of you are asking about courses and resources and books. I will talk you through them in a moment. I'll introduce our resources that we have that you might find useful. Well, it's beginning to spin a little bit. Let's have a look if I can find some more questions. Ifat has asked about a religious example. I'm not sure what you mean by that question, Ifat, but the topic of religion wouldn't come up in speaking or in writing, so I wouldn't worry about that. Sandra asked, does adding certain words such as articles affect my mark in listening tests? For instance, writing an apple instead of writing apple. Sandra, that's it depends answer. It depends on the gap you have to complete, and also it depends on the instructions. So if the instruction says write one word, then you would have to write, then you would write apple. If the article is already there for you, then if the article is already there for you, then you wouldn't repeat it. You would just use the noun on its own. Elizabeth says, one more question. Is it okay to use the same word with different forms in a paragraph? Is that considered as redundant or not? That's a good question, Elizabeth. This technique is, I think, using different forms of the word if you're stuck and you can't think of another word to use, a synonym to use, or a word that has a similar meaning, then I think it would be useful to use it rather than repeating just the same form of the word. But this is not just one technique that this will fix everything and get you a really high score. It's a combination of using synonyms, antonyms, reformulating words, using different vocabulary that will get you the highest scores. I'm really sorry, but I have to move on because my time is almost up. I do want to just let you know about our resources. So the first port of call is our website, takeielts.org. That's your one-stop shop. It's where you can find everything. You can find the section where you can have a go at doing the computer delivered IELTS if you haven't tried it already. It's a free familiarization test that you can try. Also, I was telling you about courses earlier on. We've got a couple of courses that you may be interested in. One is Road to IELTS, which is our free course. Parts of it are free that you can do, download and practice. Rest of it is you can pay for if you wish to carry on. We also have an online preparation course that we run in conjunction with FutureLearn. It's about 3 weeks long. If you've got time, I really recommend you do it. I think it's really useful. We've also got our apps, the Prep app, as well as the vocabulary apps that can help you with your vocabulary, grammar, and also give you some practice tests. And if you like paper, then you can order your books and study guides from your local British Council office, and they can send it to you. And also, if you're interested in the IELTS indicator, you can follow the link there to get more information. I did forget to tell you about our Facebook page. If you're not there already, if you haven't joined, then again, strongly suggest that you join our official Facebook page. It's where you can get some more kind of help, hints, tips, ideas, suggestions, resources, and all the latest news as well. Right, my time is up. Thank you all very much for being here today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.